My interest in becoming a member of the Southampton Fire Company was started by a neighbor of mine that I grew up with who joined the fire company. And he invited me to come down to see what it was all about one day. And after visiting and meeting the people and seeing the awesome equipment and tools that they work with, as well as the machinery that's involved in this, it just right then and there clicked, said I had to be part of this.
I joined the fire company later in life. I've been into this since I was probably 4, 5, 6 years old, since I split my eye on a windowsill trying to watch the fire truck go down the street.
So probably around 14 years old, my dad asked me if I wanted to join the firehouse. He is a firefighter and his dad was also a firefighter, so that makes me a third-generation firefighter. When it comes to the hardest part about being a volunteer firefighter, I think there's two kind of things that I think of immediately. The first one is, currently I'm a college student, and it can be kind of straining to sit there and respond to an emergency at 3 in the morning and then have to attend an 8 a.m. class the next morning.
The hardest part, it depends. Sometimes it's, balancing that call in the middle of the night with having to go to work the next day.
The other part that might be a little bit obvious is that the world's not exactly always, sunshine and rainbows, and that sometimes you have direct sight into some people's worst days of their lives. And
I know everyone talks about how, you have your worst calls, or you have, certain scenarios that are not necessarily ideal to be in. And of course with this job, you always think that it's, you're able to save people, but, the real reality is you lose people as well.
Any fire or emergency are scary, especially for the people involved. Fires where there's loss of life, they stick with you for a while. You still remember the people that were lost.
One of my hardest calls ever was, I was actually just got done mowing the lawn.
The call involved a house fire in our community. It was the middle of the afternoon on a really nice sunny day.
We got dispatched for a dwelling fire with possible entrapment. And then I was the first on scene. And when I arrived on scene, I had a very bad feeling about it, just with cars in the driveway, talking with neighbors, and I felt there was probably people inside. When
we arrived, we had light smoke conditions. As we began to force entry into the dwelling and open up the dwelling, we were faced with heavy heat and smoke conditions. As we advanced to the second floor, we were assisted by another crew from another fire department that was mutual aid to us, and unfortunately we started finding victims.
As the mother was being handed out, it's an image that I'll never forget. The fire went south. It was like, I'll never forget it. It was like a CPR class going on in the front yard. CPR being done on 3 people. We still had the fire going on, so everything had to be done that way. And unfortunately, the infant didn't make it. The mother sat in a coma for approximately 18 months. Never regained consciousness. So I do not consider that a success rescue at all.
It's my most memorable call that I faced as a firefighter.
So I guess the hardest part of what we do is seeing the bystanders' emotions, or the people involved, their emotions, because ourselves, we become pretty good at numbing things and kind of taking ourselves out of the situations so that I guess we don't feel as much. At least for me, that's what I try to do. But when you see the pain in someone else, I guess that's where it kind of gets to you.
At the firehouse, there's definitely a special bond between everybody. You sit there and get to interact with everybody at, sometimes it's the afternoon, sometimes it's 3 in the morning. And I'll say that sometimes you get to have different experiences that not everybody gets to have. You are up handling an emergency at 3 in the morning. Something a little bit more important could happen, like a house fire or something like that. And that bond gets built a little bit stronger knowing that they have your back and you have their back.
The way these traumatic calls happen, I really feel that it brings us closer together because we've all experienced it for the most part.
I'm a volunteer firefighter because I strongly believe in giving back to the community.
I'm a volunteer firefighter because I'm able to help somebody on their worst day.
I'm a volunteer firefighter because I want to give back to the community, for one. When I got here, it just clicked to me that this is something I wanted to belong to. I got to see the people, the commitment from the people. I got to see the equipment that they utilize, how well kept it is, and the pride that they put into it. And that is something I definitely wanted to be part of.